Hello and welcome everyone to TCR Express. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and with me I have staff writer for the Journal of Commerce, Russell Hixson. Russell,
Hello.
There's a lot going on in BC and Alberta and generally in Western Canada. So what have you got on the go this week?
Yeah, there's always a lot going on at West. By the time this is up, there should be an article online about səmiq ʷəʔelə lands, formerly the Riverview lands. A few weeks ago, Coquitlam First Nation and BC Housing made a big announcement that they were changing the name of the lands as part of reconciliation efforts. And they're also doing planning for a complete redevelopment of it all. And so I thought I'd do a little dive into səmiq ʷəʔelə lands and the many different iterations it's gone through. As many in the area know, it's an extremely popular filming location for shows like The X-Files and The Flash and all sorts of TV and television stuff. But also it was the site of the Canada's first like major botanical gardens. And just there's all sorts of things. I looked up who all the architects were who made some of these famous buildings that are on the site. And I just tried to find some of the most interesting information that I could about it that, many of our readers might not know. And I found some pretty interesting stuff. We also found out in Alberta, Interpipeline has snagged a $408 million grant for its Heartland Petrochemical Complex under an incentive program by the Alberta government. And it's a $4 billion propane dehydrogenation and polypropylene production facility being built near Edmonton. And it's the first project to receive this type of grant from the province. They're trying to encourage investment. And it's expected to be operational in 2022. So yeah, that should be interesting. That's a massive grant. Also, there's an article that I have in the works. Hopefully it comes together this week or next week. I should be speaking with experts from ERUP and HKS Architects about some research that they've been doing into pandemic resilient hospitals. They've consulted just a huge swath of different experts, and they've been compiling this research of what the future of hospitals is going to look like. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of what their research has dug up. And I'm definitely looking forward to that.
That is something that I will be keeping an eye on too, as our ICU count climbs, not just ours, but Canada's climbs steadily upward. This is the kind of thing that we are going to have to do at some point when this is all finished.
And hospitals are, from my understanding, notoriously difficult to build because they're very they have a very specific use, and I think they have to be built very specifically. So it should be interesting to see what that report brings. So yeah,
great. And from our Eastern correspondents, it looks like Don Wall is tracking some interesting stories. Infrastructure Ontario tweeted that it will present its quarterly market update featuring Infrastructure Minister Laurie Scott in a couple of days. And that's always worthwhile checking into to see what major projects have become more or less priorities or even been eliminated from the project pipeline altogether. There's about $60 billion in projects in the pipeline right now, and Don will be covering that and reporting on it the same day on Thursday. And just this morning, Fengate Asset Management announced a plan to develop a 16-acre community featuring high-rise residential, affordable housing, green space, retail, and entertainment venues above the rail corridor in downtown Toronto. Fengate is representing the LIUNA Pension Fund of Central and Eastern Canada, Craft Development Group, and Kingsman Group Inc. on the plan, which they're calling the Orca Project. We'll be tracking down more details on that. And finally, watch for Don's article on the latest economic forecast from Export Development Canada. Chief Economist Peter Hall is talking about ramped-up expectations for U.S. growth now that President Biden has confirmed his trillion-dollar infrastructure plan. Hall says it is now expected that U.S. growth will be 2% greater in 2021 than was anticipated just a month ago, and the forecast for Canada in 2021 now shows growth up to a full percentage point for what was recently expected. That's good news for the Canadian construction sector. Angela Gismondi, our other staff writer for the Daily Commercial News, is working on a couple stories from the Skills Ontario Conference on persons with exceptionalities. In the first one, professional speaker and author Julie Sawchuk shares her story about her life in a wheelchair, and she talked about the disconnect between people who design and construct accessible spaces and the people who actually need to use them. Her message is that persons with exceptionalities are problem solvers and as such can help create these truly accessible spaces. Anna's got another story about a new study from the Canadian Automobile Association, which finds Canadians are paying $3 billion every year in higher vehicle operating costs due to poor road infrastructure. She reached out to the CAA, but also the Ontario Road Builders Association and the Ontario Good Roads Association to get their feedback on the study and what it means in a broader context about the condition of roads across the country. And later this week, Angela will be attending a webinar on vaccination in the workplace hosted by the Ontario Road Builders Association and the Ontario General Contractors Association. It's called the Educate Me Virtual Symposium. If you'd like to listen to any other episodes of the TCR Express or our regular Friday podcast, you can check us out on Amazon Music, Apple Music, or Spotify, or on the Daily Commercial News or Journal of Commerce websites. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Friday.